So welcome back to part 2 of the MARCHintosh video on my Performa 475. In the last video we took a look around the unit, on the inside, and we actually managed to get it fired up enough to see what was on it. And yep, someone had left their data complete with CVs and all other kinds of things. In this video we're actually going to look at the upgrades now, and I've got a few things which will make this go a little bit further from its stock form. Let's get straight into it. A lot of the information for these upgrades was actually taken from this particular website I have up now. I'll leave a link in the description. And yes, I do realise it says Quadra 605 in the title, but beyond a slightly different case design, the 605 was exactly the same as the LC475 or Performa 475. It contained the same 68 LCO40 CPU running at 25 MHz. The only difference was, compared to the consumer units, this didn't actually necessarily come with anything like printers and other accessories. This one was more for business. So I've just taken a few shots here of some of the upgrades. Some of these I have actually taken notice of and we will be including in our build, but they have anything from RAM upgrades, to information on CPU upgrades, CPU overclocking, cache cards, and even video cards for this particular Mac. There's all kinds of stuff here. Maybe in the future we'll actually delve into more of this stuff, but for the moment we're going to keep it relatively simple. So as mentioned, this machine was found pretty much in stock form, meaning it was on its base operating system with the same hardware it had come from the factory with. Today of course we're going to change all that, and the first piece of hardware that I'm going to introduce is something that should give us a little bit more storage space. Currently we're sitting on a 160 MB Quantum Pro drive, which miraculously isn't dead. Still though, it's a bit small for what I want to do with this. Instead, I have a Seagate Barracuda. This is a 4 GB hard drive. Now, I do realise there's better solutions, such as the SD to SCSI, and I could very well have bought that or anything else in the time I haven't been working on this, but I didn't. But you see, there are other advancements in this field, such as the Blue SCSI and the RAS SCSI, which I might want to evaluate before putting into this unit. So, for the moment, this will go in. It's still going to be bigger than the last drive. The next thing for this is some more RAM. This has built-in 4 MB, but that's just simply not enough, so this stick of 128 MB should do the trick. Next up has to be some of the most beautiful VRAM I think I've ever seen. I got it from a seller on eBay that makes reproduction VRAM for a whole range of Macintosh things. I would definitely check out his shop if you want anything for your Macintosh. Definitely Instagram worthy. And finally, one special item that I'm going to do live on camera because I think it's special enough. This. What this is a network card. And this is hopefully going to help me get files onto and off the LC/Performa rather than having to use other methods like, using floppies. But yeah, this is a Farallon network card that is luckily packaged with the disc. I got this a few years ago, and that's just lovely. So I think we need to get on and install all this stuff. So I decided to start with something easy, like the RAM, but I quickly ran into an issue as, yep, it doesn't fit. I'd bought the wrong type. What I'd actually meant to buy was a 72-pin SIM. What I ended up buying was something a lot different. What I had to then do was make an emergency RAM order, and luckily I could actually find some decent RAM that was going to be able to be delivered in about a day, though the biggest module I could get for any decent price was about 32 MB. You win some, you lose some, right? Hopefully that arrives in time. It says 30th there, but I've been quoted the 29th instead. So it seems I've made a bit of a kind of a grave error. As you saw, this does not fit. I don't know what this is then. I'm sure I checked 2 or 3 times, and that the other one was 168 pin, maybe this is what this is, this stick here. But no, it's 172 pin, not 172, 172. And, well, that's just the wrong thing. I'm utterly devastated. Rummaging through my RAM, however, I've got these things. Now, the top one appears to be a, if I can get it in focus, 60 nanosecond, and the bottom is 70. This thing says it requires 80 nanosecond minimum, whether or not it needs it as a minimum, or that's the minimum it'll run at. But we're going to try the 70. I don't even know how big these things are. I'm going to try this and see what RAM it gives us, if it gives us any. Not even sure if that's how you put it. I've just got everything plugged up and I'm about to turn this on with that RAM in. I just want to see how much, if any, it actually gives us. Well, no, it doesn't work. Turns out it does work if you push the RAM stick in properly. That's a better result. Trouble is, I've actually, at this point, unplugged the keyboard. Forgive the crudeness, by the way. This particular input's not set up for the correct aspect ratio. This Mac. Yeah, okay, we've got 8 megabytes now, so we've doubled what we had. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, I guess it's better than nothing. I mean, it's all we have right now. So next was the addition of the new VRAM. It's easy to take this stuff out, but I did have to unplug the power supply, as plugging it back in can be a little more difficult. And in goes that beautiful, beautiful VRAM. Doesn't it look fantastic sitting there? And in goes the power connector again. So the next thing to do is to try and get this hard drive out, which was easier said than done. I struggled for quite a while trying to pull this big hefty thing out. I had to sort of lever it on one side by removing the clips on the other side, and then I could pull the thing free after disconnecting the power. One last look at the old 160 megabyte. The hard drive is secured to the plate with 4 screws, and this is pretty simple just to take off. And hard drive is released. Once I put on the adapter on the end of the drive, I just literally reversed the process. Clipped it down, taking mere seconds compared to how long it took to take the damn thing out. I then just sorted the connections at the end of the drive. I'm surprised all that fits in there, to be quite honest with you. Lastly, we're just trying to put the Ethernet card in, which is quite fiddly in itself, but once I got it done I was pleased. And that's it basically. All the new parts are in. Let's test. So the first thing I like to do is just simply turn it on to make sure nothing pops, and I'm glad to say it seems to turn on just fine, though we need to load some software. To help us with that task, I have my Apple CD300, which I can plug in via SCSI to load the software off. Oh, doesn't that look good? I'm thinking macOS 8, or if that doesn't work, how about macOS 7.6? So let's try and boot the thing. I wondered if it would come up automatically, but sadly it didn't. As you can see, it's not detecting any bootable device. First I tried the old trick of using the C key held down to see if it would load it up. But as you can see in a little bit, no, it definitely doesn't do that either. However, a different technique involving pretty much all the modifier keys and the number 5, which correspond to the SCSI ID of the drive, this one was a little more successful. It began to load from the drive. Happy days. And there it is. That is beautiful. From there, it's just a matter of letting it load up into the installer, and it seemed to do it quite well. With that loaded, it was time to set up the drives. This one was really surprising, as I loaded up the drive setup and, well, basically, this happened. I don't believe it. It actually found the damn thing. First time. Oh shit. This is fantastic. Now, I don't think that the macOS 8 is actually going to fit on this because of the fact it hasn't got enough RAM. Hang on, let me get closer to the microphone for you. So yeah, what I may have to do is use macOS 7.6, but I can try, I can see what it says. Who knows, but I've got to initialize the hard drive. It's a bloody loud thing. Can't wait to get rid of it. Anyway, initialize. That is fantastic. Alright, let's close this. Or can I close it? Oh yeah, you gotta close it like this. Okay, let's just try installing macOS 8. It might complain. I'm okay with putting macOS 7 on here. It's A-okay with me. Just that macOS 8 was what I really wanted to do. Alright then, let's do continue. Oh, It's picking everything up. This is fantastic. Alright, perform clean installation. Yeah, okay. I won't steal it. Yes, just do it. Tell you what, let's have absolutely everything, but let's just check. I don't know what any of this stuff is. I just want to see if it installs. Right, let's start it. It's probably going to tell me I've not got enough RAM. Could not be opened because there's not enough memory available to continue. That's fine. I just want to do an install. I'm buzzing right now. It's like 1:30 in the morning and I have to get up for work at like 8:30, but screw this. I'm going to do this. Right, so let's just close this off and let's load up macOS 7.6. Should that be enough? Hey, I found it. It's probably going to... Oh no, it's loading straight away. Hey, that's good. Yeah, don't care. Oh, thank you, just cancel it for me. Alright, so I think the drive hasn't been set up correctly. What I might have to do, it could be that it can't even actually use the correct format, because what I think's happened is that disk may be formatted in HFS Plus, whereas this, generally speaking, isn't. Or maybe it's just in here, maybe it'll find it, I don't know. Can't see it. So, wants me to update my hard disk driver. Ooh, what's this thing? Wow, that drive is really loud. It's found it. What's that? Mount. Unmount. Yeah, mount please. There we go. And that's all it was. Auto initialize. Let's just initialize it again. Verify after formatting. Create volume. Yes. Want that, please. Yep, we do. I don't really care. Yep. Do it, please. An hour and 37 minutes. Yeah, I don't think so. Can I even stop this? Alright, I'm back. I just went back to the macOS 8 disk and just redid it. Seems to be fine. I also made sure to make the partition just slightly below 4 gigabytes. It's literally a 4063. I don't think that installer really paid attention, because what it did is it was setting it to 4.2, which I doubt would actually work on this. The partitions allowed, it can only boot from a 4 gigabyte, but on top of that, it's smaller. Anyway, let's mount the thing. There it is, and let's just try and install. Alright, let's choose the disk. Should be pretty simple. Yay! Available. That's interesting. You can only see 2 gigabytes of it. Not a problem, because as I say, we're going to rip this out anyway. Yeah, let's make a clean installation. This should work because the minimum physical RAM for 7.6 is 8 megabytes. God, I want that stick in there so badly. Easy install? I mean, do we want it to be difficult? Okay, that just finished. I wasn't prepared for that. That took, I would say, about 10 minutes or something. Yep, successful. I like that. Click quit to... Nah, we're done. Could not be opened because there's not enough memory. Well, whatever. Okay. Bye-bye. Didn't need you. Haha. Right. Okay. Let's restart the thing and see if it remembers. No. It seems to have booted just back to the disk. Hold on a sec. We'll try the same trick again, except we'll do 2, because that was the SCSI ID of the hard drive. Let's see if I can load it with the mouse. Right, apparently the D key can do this. Could it be that the terminators are wrong? Well, I'm back in the disk tools and just verified the thing. It seems to be fine. Doesn't appear to be mounting at startup, which is not very useful. I think it's something to do with the hard drive size. I don't know if... I thought macOS 7.6 could actually take it, but it doesn't seem to be able to boot from it or something. It seems to detect the size as being 2 gigabytes, when quite clearly, I mean, there's 3.8 free, I guess. Just to make sure it's maybe not a hard drive problem, I'm going to reformat and do that to 2 GB and see if that actually helps. You know, I wonder if I should have maybe paid more attention to this. This was a message that came up after it complained there was not enough memory. Well, it didn't actually work. I'm booting back into the disk again after letting the thing go through. It just seems to be that this drive spins down and it doesn't spin back up, and of course it can't find it. I made the mistake of turning off the optical drive when I went to restart. The drive was spun up at that point. I might have actually fixed it. What I did was I shut it down, held the D key, and then turned off the optical drive. Maybe that's all it needs, but the drive is spun up. So I'm just going to let it start up properly, which it looks like it's doing, and then we can see if this makes any difference. Well, that seems to be it. We did it. Now, I don't know whether this is going to happen with a cold restart. Right, okay. So the CD-ROM drive is off. I just want to see if we can restart cleanly. Yeah? It finds the disk. Alright, so let's try the big one. Let's try the cold shutdown. Go. No. Right, let's try the key combination again. So the hard drive does work. We know that, it installs, it loads up, but for some reason it's not physically starting. Does it maybe draw too much power? Is there a terminator I need to fiddle with? I think I'm just going to go to bed now and see about this in the morning. Nighty night. I was getting a little frustrated with why this wasn't working, so I turned to the 68K MLA forums and actually signed up and put a post up there. I had some immensely useful suggestions of looking at things like jumpers, in particular something called a delay jumper. It may be that the drive is physically being prevented from spinning up. So this is our drive in the case, and it has a very helpful sticker on the front. Zooming in a little bit, you can see a bit more detail about the jumper arrangement. There's some other jumpers that are on the front of the drive. I don't really know what they do necessarily, even with the picture, and this is the adapter on the back, which is used to take the 80 pins and turn it into a 50. Though I don't actually know what all of these pins do, if I'm quite honest. I spent a little bit of time reconfiguring the pins and actually ended up just removing both of them to see what would happen. For that, there's really only one way to test this. Let's turn it on. Haha, that sounds good. Wait for it. Okay. I tell you something though. It's starting correctly. What we might need to do is just tell it what disk to use. That drive has physically spun up. Let's just try something else. After paying more attention to the manual, it seems I was barking up the wrong tree. Those pins near the end probably do absolutely nothing. And it's not the pins at the far end either. All the jumpers I need are on the side. I'm going to have to take it out the frame. I'm going to configure it. I don't need to show me actually doing that. Okay, from the looks of things, it's these pins along here. I'll work it out, I'll get back to you. Watch this. Yeah, it works now. Do you want to know how that's the case? Well, I'll show you. Okay, I'm just switching to the phone camera because it's quick and dirty and I can use it as a mobile camera. But do you know how I got that to work? There's the optical drive again. I was going to actually boot a disk utility. Currently not plugged in. Now watch this. I'm just going to change input, okay? So let's watch what happens in real time. I've got the SCSI cable in my hand and plug. Done. Oh, look what happens. It's like magic, isn't it? You see at the back of the drive there, you've got the connector at the top and you've got this other block at the bottom. That's a terminator. So the issue that I had with this thing is twofold. It was both the jumpers on the drive and the termination, but I have a solution to make this work without doing anything crazy. So this is my solution. It's basically one of these adapters which goes from a Centronics to a 25 pin, and I've just bunged the terminator from the optical drive onto it because I don't envisage using that too much, so if I put it in the back here it should work. And it does. Champion. That will do. Now I could turn my attention to actually installing the drivers for the Ethernet card. I don't know about you, but I liked very much tearing into a completely unopened new old stock floppy. The floppy loaded perfectly fine, and the installation seemed to proceed pretty much without a hitch. One restart later, and we were back to test. Okay, so initially I took the floppy disk out, and there's actually more things here. I think we should have a quick look at these, so let's have a look at the diagnostics, see if the card is actually fine, should be. It's pretty good, let's test it. Physically disconnect from the network. Okay, well that's done anyway, I haven't plugged in yet. Well, that's okay. The cable connection failed, it's not plugged in. Everything else seems fine, I guess. Done with that for the moment. By the way, I must actually tell you that I am actually using another YouTube user's video to help me with this. The Maritime Girl did one on updating an LC3 with an Ethernet card, and that video was extremely useful. I'm pretty much using it as my guide on how to do this. I could kind of feel my way out, but it's much easier to watch someone else do it. So I'll leave a link in the description for that. I think we should probably go to the control panels. I'll leave that open because we may need that. Should be networking, or is it just TCP/IP on this one? Yes. Connected via... See, this is different. The Maritime Girl actually had a different version. I've got 7.6. I think they were using 7.1, which is what this came with. I think that might be all we need to do. This is actually scarily easy. Was it really as easy as that? Well, I don't know. Let's test it. Let's check it out. Yeah, whatever. Oh my god. Everything's okay. Alright, okay. I'm really excited now. IP address will be supplied by server. See what that says about it. Okay. Right, okay. That might have actually changed it, so let's just check that again. Yeah, it's still good. We definitely need a web browser. I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to browse files in order to go on to something like, I don't know, my network. It probably can't happen yet. So I wasn't going to do this, but we're going to test out a web browser. Now, Netscape 4 should work on here. Back in a tick while I make a floppy. I've managed to get two things. I've had to go all the way back to Netscape 1 because I don't have anything that will actually contain even Netscape 2 or above. I literally don't have anything else, any other drive to connect to this that's actually big enough to hold it. All I've got is floppies. So I've made a floppy here with a couple of things on. I've got Stuffit Expander, which is required in order to read Netscape, so let's install that first. Yeah, let's just stick it there. This is very haphazardly laid out. It's only because I just want to get this going and explore it a bit. Yay! Okay. Maybe we should restart actually. Turns out I didn't actually do that at all. Okay, so I've had a real mess on trying to get this to work, and safe to say it doesn't. But then I remembered I actually have a CD of Stuffit Deluxe. So I've connected the drive back up, and we're going to try and install it. Ooh, that's a nice logo. Valid from version 7.1 onwards. I think we're going to be okay. Yeah! I should have done this before, really, because this is like the best version. You don't even have to mess around with disk images. Once this is on, I can read any number of archives. It's going to be great. Probably. Just do it. Alright, we're past it. This looks really good. This is like everything. Just bung it on there. Just do it. Yeah, let's just unstuff it into there. There you go. That's how you do it. There's the installer. Netscape. Right, let's test this out. I really want to see if this Ethernet actually works. Yeah. Seems to have paused a little bit. So I had to do a hard reset there. It's looking increasingly likely like I can't do very much with this. We may just have to cut our losses and say, look, we installed the Ethernet card. That's it, because I'm not sure that the amount of RAM I've got is enough, but we'll try this again. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay, so let's try something basic. It's trying. Is it gonna do it? Oh! Now that's wrong. It's old, it's dead, but it loaded a website. Now hold on a second, let's just check something else out that will actually work on this. I'll just copy what the Maritime Girl actually did, because this website does work and it's meant to. The world is spinning, but it keeps saying that a network error has occurred. I mean, the cable is still in. I mean, this is a really old version of this, and I don't really know enough about it. What I'll do is I'll test one more thing and then we'll go. It could be because I've got a really old browser, but I mean, what you see on this page here, this gobbledygook, this was actually Google. I mean, you can see all this stuff, so it can get on the internet. Unfortunately, I'm battling against two things. Possibly the browser's not new enough, maybe the operating system is old, though the Maritime Girl did get on with 7.1. I think we've proved that it works and we can only improve it from here, but I think this is just about drawing things to a close. Let's move on to the conclusion. Well, the project is actually finally at a close. It's done. And despite a few issues, it went relatively well, I would say. I mean, the hard drive seems to work. We've got a few snags resolved with that. The network card seemed to work okay. I couldn't quite get it going onto a website. I have a feeling it's just an old version of Netscape. I was surprised with how easy the operating system installed. I expected to be wrestling with that for a bit as well. Oh, and the RAM finally came, though it was kind of really too late to do anything major in the video, so that'll be left till next time pretty much. And that basically brings us to the end of MARCHintosh. This video will go up on the very last day. Cutting it a bit fine, I didn't necessarily want to do that. So basically, yeah, I thank you very much for watching, if you did, through all the rambly bits. So if you can, I'd love you to like, subscribe if you want to. I mean, if you don't like it, well, that's fine, I guess. And there's also an Instagram which has pictures on it as well. If you want to look at that as well, I'd be very grateful. But for now, I have to say goodbye, so see you later.